Well, that's a very good question. And in Bhakti Yoga, especially, these relationships, they are very important. There are different relationships which are described in Bhakti, like the relationship between a master and a servant, the relationship between the mother and the child, the relationship between two friends, the relationship between two lovers. So these are all different relations which we know in our daily life. And Bhakti Yoga, or the devotion, path of devotion, it uses these relations which we know or which we experience in our day-to-day life. They just change the direction of these relations towards God. Like a child loving his mother. So this we know. Bhakti Yoga says that just love God or whomever you adore or whoever your deity is. Love him or her just as a child loves your mother. Because you know how you love your mother. What is the relation, or how does a son or a daughter feel the feelings towards his or her mother. So just apply this relation, direct this relation towards God. Then what happens? The spiritual energy which flows, because the main thing in spirituality is the spiritual energy which day by day increases. So when we can establish a relation which we know of, like these relations which has been said of, when we can establish such a relation with God or with the deity I adore, I worship, or with my guru, then what happens is that spiritual energy flows through that relation to me. My spirituality, it goes on developing. Bhagwan gives a very beautiful example. He gives a very beautiful example, like like in here we have the water connection, the water which is given by the municipality or the corporation, which comes and which flows by the all the residences, all the houses. So each and every house has a connection from that main line. From that main connection, they take a connection for their house. So there is this main flow of water, but in order to get that water, because if there is the flow of water and I don't have the connection, then it's of no use to me. In order to get water, in order to have water from that source, I have to establish a connection with that main source and my house. Similarly, this spirituality is always there flowing. It is always there. It is said that each soul is potentially divine. That divinity is always within me. It's always flowing. But as I cannot establish a relation with me and that energy, which comes through Guru, which comes through the deity, I cannot develop in spirituality. So once I have these connections, once I can establish these relations, like the relation between a child and a mother, the relationship between two friends, the relationship between two lovers. What is the main thing behind this? Thought. The relationship between two friends. When I have a very dear friend of mine, I will be thinking of him. When I love somebody very closely, I will always day and night think of him or her. A child, whenever he is in any kind of trouble or even not in trouble, he will be thinking of the mother. So the main thing is thinking of the Supreme, maybe as my mother, maybe as my friend, maybe as my lover, in whatsoever way. The main thing is to establish a relation between that source and this individual being. And then I get gradually enriched in spirituality. And yes, when this relationship it reaches the peak, when at its culminating point, one has the realization, which is known as God realization. So when this relation gets matured, intensifies, then I can realize I have God realization. So these relations are very important in devotion, in the path of devotion in Bhakti Yoga. And when this relation, first I have to establish a relation and then I have to intensify this relation. I have to make it more and more intense. And everywhere there is this love, a child and a mother, the relation, it's love. The relation between two friends, it's love. The relation between two lovers, it's love. So everywhere there is this love. So with my deity or my guru, it's the same thing, love. And thinking about him. So these relations are very important, and each of us has this different, according to our inclinations, according to our tendency, we grow different sorts of relation with the Supreme, with my deity or with my guru. There are different, it depends upon my tendencies. Everyone will not have the same thing. Everyone will not have the relation between a son and a mother or between two friends. No, they will differ person to person, and that will depend upon that person's tendency. But it is very important in the path of devotion in Bhakti Yoga to establish this relation and to intensify it and to go to such a height, to the culminating point where I realize my deity, I can see him, or I have God realization.